Welcome to episode four of Triage Trauma and Drama. I hope you guys are having a great week. My name's Matt. I'm your host. Sorry if I seem a little bit tired. I'm recording this at like 10:45 at night, just because I had some other stuff that took precedence today. Didn't get done with it until now, so here we go. This week's episode, entitled "Why You Should Lock Up Your Lube," is going to be a funny one. It's not as sexual as you think it is. Sorry to disappoint, but it hopefully tickles your funny bones. So anyway, this particular story happened when I worked in a fairly large city, and we, as the EMS crews, we would kind of post around town. Um, we didn't really have a certain fire station or base we were attached to. We were just kind of posted around town, and then whatever unit was closest to that call would go. And this particular night, I was with a partner who happened to have like the worst luck in the world, who also happened to be what we call a Rescue Randy or Rescue Rick. The man had all manner of things on his belt. All manner of things on his belt. Like, he had like 4 or 5 pairs of trauma shears, which I don't know why you need that many pairs of trauma shears. Like, one is generally good enough. I think he even had a collapsible baton. He might have had some sort of pepper spray thing. I don't honestly remember. But anyway, this guy had a lot of stuff on his belt. And he was newer to the field. At this time, I had probably been doing this for about 3 or 4 years. And he was much newer to the field, and he really enjoyed those high adrenaline situations. And, at this point, those sort of situations had started to kind of, wear off on me because I was getting older. I'd done a number of them, and I didn't think they were as exciting as they once were. Let's just put it that way. I didn't think they were that exciting. I mean, they were still exciting, but I was like, I don't have to do this every day. So anyway, we go to this particular ER, and we had dropped off a patient several hours before that was a behavioral health patient or a patient with some psychiatric and mental health issues. And this particular ER, we would go and we'd shoot the shit with them. We'd hang out with them. We'd just kind of talk and kind of keep the nurses company and, help out where we could. And this particular gentleman had been originally in like their psych room, which was a room that had like nothing in it. Like, it had essentially had a bed, and that's really it. Like, it had a few drawers and everything. Most of them were locked, but otherwise it did not have a whole lot of things in there. Like, it was just a psych room. Like, it didn't have a lot of stuff in there. So he was in this room, and they ended up moving him kind of down the hall around the corner because they had a patient in there that was restrained, that was going through methamphetamine withdrawals, that was like cussing and screaming and making a bunch of noise. And so we asked about this particular, psych patient we brought in earlier, like, oh, how's he doing? And they're like, oh, he's fine. He's just sitting back there and just kind of, we brought him a sandwich. He's just kind of chilling out. And we're like, oh, that's nice. That's cool. And we kept talking to the staff, and we hear a bunch of like noises coming from that area, like down and around the corner of where this guy's room was. We think, oh, this is several years ago. It's like, oh, there's nothing bad happening down there. It's totally fine. We don't need to go look. We're going to ignore it. Which, side note, we probably should have gone and looked. So about another 5-10 minutes go by. Me and my partner decide we're going to walk down around the corner and grab something to get out of. They had a vending machine down at the end of this hallway. So we decided we're going to walk down to the end of this hallway and just grab something to drink. We should probably go back and get back to our posting spots. It's like 3:00 in the morning, and you should probably be at our posting spot. And we should probably let the nurses do their job. So we go down there. And as we go down there, we walk past this guy's room, because you got to walk past that room and then get out another set of doors to get to where this vending machine is. So if we go down there, we walk past this guy's room, and first of all, there's no one watching him. Like, he's a psychiatric patient. There's no one watching him. They still have a lot of the stuff in the room, and we notice that as we walk by, he kind of instantly stops what he's doing and kind of buries his hands underneath the blanket. And we thought, well, that's weird. And so I walked back, told the nurses at the nursing station, I'm like, hey, you might want to go check on the guy in 24. He's acting kind of, like, we walked past him, he was acting kind of screwy. You might just want to go check on him. Oh, yeah, we'll do that, they say. So me and my partner go back through the doors, get ourselves something to drink, come back. As we come back around the corner, one of our units is bringing in a guy in the middle of a heart attack. So half the nursing staff rushes off to the resuscitation bay. We're kind of standing there talking to this one baby nurse that's been a nurse for all of, I don't know, maybe a year. So she's kind of trying to watch the entirety of the ER by herself. So we're like, well, we'll stick around for a hot second, things say in case something goes horribly south out here. Now at that point, we hear a bang and a bunch of stuff like clattering. She's like, that's fucking weird. So we tell her to stay where she is, and we walk around the corner, start walking down this long hallway at the end of which is room 24. At that point, the gentleman in 24 comes out. Now, this gentleman in room number 24 was not a small man. He was of generous proportions throughout. And he comes out and he is buck ass naked, which was surprising, number one. He has taken off the entirety of his scrubs, and he has got stuff like smeared all over his body. Like, I mean, we've all taken care of those patients where they smear stuff on themselves. Luckily, it wasn't poop, wasn't feces. They just had like stuff smeared all over his body. He takes one look at us, turns around, runs for the doors that are locked, kind of bounces off those doors, and then turns back around and makes a beeline toward us. Now, at this point, because we were young, we were stupid, I think we thought we could take this guy down, which was dumb because, again, he's probably 400 pounds, and he's rushing right at us. Well, as fast as a 400-pound guy can move, which was actually really oddly quick for someone of his generous size. So he's rushing toward us and gets, almost to us. And me and my partner decide, okay, I'm going to go low, he's going to go high. And we try and tackle this guy because we don't know what his intention is. And the minute we hit him, we both kind of slide off because the man had taken every piece of lube in that room, which I have no idea why they were keeping so much lube in that room to begin with. Not a question we ended up asking, and smeared it all over himself. So now not only do we kind of slide right off, but now I hit the ground. I've got lube all over me, all over the front of my uniform, which is now picking up stuff from the floor of the hospital. And my partner manages to kind of hang on to him a little bit. He kind of tilts into the wall and then slides down against the wall. They both kind of end up on the ground with kind of this keep. Well, he's still trying to get up. Well, the problem now is that he's got lube all over like his hands and stuff, so he can't get off the ground. I jump back in there and tell my partner, and what you end up is a mass of three dudes rolling around on the ground, not really being able to get a grip on him because he's still covered in lube. Like, he was covered in lube. I was thoroughly impressed, actually, about the amount of lube that he was covered in. So he's covered in lube. We're rolling around on the ground. We're trying to get a hold of him. At this point, the baby nurse appears and goes, "Oh my God." We're like, "Would you please call security?" Because we're not security. At this point, me and my partner are going, "This was it's a horrible idea. This is stupid. And why do we even go through with this? This is dumb." Security shows up about 2 minutes later, and it took four of us to get this guy up off the ground, at which point me and my partner are covered with lube and hair and just dirt, and just we look really gross. And this guy's still naked. And the entire time we're struggling with him, I realize I'm putting my places. My ungloved hand, mind you, because I didn't put gloves on, because why would I put gloves on? That'd be intelligent. My ungloved hand went into some places that ungloved hands should never touch. Let's just put it that way. So they get this guy up, security does. We get him back into the room, look at the room, realize he has ripped the drawers off, the front face of his drawers off, and scattered crap all over the room. Well, obviously we can't leave him there. At that point, the baby nurse comes back around, bringing the charge nurse. The charge nurse takes one look at the two of us and goes, "What the fuck happened to you guys?" We point to the psych patient, who now starts laughing hysterically like a hobgoblin of some sort. So we are covered in junk and crap. They get this guy restrained to the bed properly this time, drag a CNA down out there to kind of sit with them and make sure he's not going to do this again. Me and my partner walked back to the nurse's station, again, covered from head to toe in lube and dirt and all sorts of other stuff. Our uniforms were navy blue, so it showed a lot of things. Walk back to the nurse's station, and, they thank us very much for their help. And then charge nurse looks at me and she goes, "What made you guys try and tackle him like that?" And we're like, "Well, we don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time." And my question to her was, "Why do you have so much lube in that room?" Just period. Like, why was there so much lube in that room? This man, who was a fairly generously sized human being, able to coat himself enough of it to where it turned into like a mud wrestling match, essentially, is what it turned into. They all get a good laugh out of it. There is video footage that exists of such incident. However, that was several years ago. It's been lost to time. I apologize. Not really, because I don't need to see myself doing that. It was actually very amusing to watch because it looked like an Abbott and Costello routine for a little bit because we were just slipping all over each other and just falling down. And it was use your imaginations. If you've seen me try and do something incredibly physical, just, make it that, but 10,000 times worse and use your imagination. So anyway, we gather what's left of our pride, go back to sit down in our rig. We're still covered in stuff, and I radio dispatch and tell them we have to go back to the station. And the dispatcher asks me why. I'm like, well, we have to get cleaned up. We've got to get some stuff for the rig. And she goes, cleaned up? You guys haven't been on a call for like 2 hours. Like, what have you been doing? I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you this over the radio because I don't need everyone in the rest of the company knowing that me and my partner decided to tackle a big fat naked guy and that was covered in lube and, kind of got our asses kicked a little bit. We go back to the station. And the minute we walk in, there's a couple crews sitting there that were getting ready for switchover, and we get a standing ovation because the charge nurse, wonderful human being that she was, decided to call our station and talk to our station manager, and describe to them the hilarity that they had seen in this back hallway. So we ended up. I always kept a spare uniform at the station just because stuff like that happened to me, or sometimes you get blood, guts, other things on yourself. So we showered, finished the rest of our shifts, but for the entire rest of the nights, people kept asking us where the lube was. I tell them where I wish they would stick it, but anyway. So moral of the story is always lock up your lube. I mean, for professional use. Personal use, that's probably not a bad idea, depending on if you've really got children in the house, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, moral of the story is always lock up your lube. And, maybe with your psych patients, don't leave them alone down the hallway. Now, thankfully, this gentleman actually ended up apologizing to the entire ER staff. Didn't remember really fighting us, but he knew he tried to fight someone in the hallway when he was kind of coming out of his little psychotic episode. So I guess that's good, right? But at least he apologized for it. But I took a very long and very, very hot shower and wanted to pretty much dip my hands in chlorine after that. Because like I said, I was not wearing gloves. Did not have my BSI. The scene was not safe. But that was a little bit of a lighter episode for you guys this week. I hope you enjoyed that story. As always, make sure that you take care of yourselves, take care of each other. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, like, make a comment, do all the things. Helps push the algorithm out as I'm trying to get kind of a hang on this whole situation. Hope you guys have a good rest of the week. Oh, and just in case you weren't aware, happy Pride. It's Pride Month. If you don't like it, then you should not be watching me or listening to me because it's flaming homosexual over here. Anyways, hope you guys have a great night. Talk to you later.